The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
He has to be held accountable. He's not above the law.
No one's above the law. Either that nor any other title puts you above the rule of law.
And no one is truly above the law.
That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is what it means to not have a king.
They're not above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
Everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally.
That no one is above the law, which is foundational.
No one is above the law, even a former president.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
Is this what we've come to? A judge being arrested by the FBI. A judge in Wisconsin was arrested by the FBI. They're accusing her of at least misleading ICE agents or throwing them off the trail of someone that they deem to be an illegal alien, as they call them, or an undocumented person. It's really scary. Kash Patel was behind it. He put up a tweet. He has since deleted it. I want to know what's going on. Is this where we're living in a time where you can detain judges because they're not doing what you want them to do? What happened to the independence of the judiciary? We're supposed to have 3 branches of government.
Escucha, estamos en la lucha. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No due process, no peace. No due process, no peace. Dugan will be free, no justice, no peace. Judge Dugan will be free, no justice, no peace. Judge Dugan will be free, no justice, no peace. Judge Dugan will be free, no justice, no peace.
Boy. So we got some bad news for the Democrats who are currently now boohoo whining and crying about the Milwaukee judge, woke judge, Hannah Dugan, who was arrested by the FBI for trying to help illegal immigrants evade ICE. Okay. And it's just a very, very, very funny story to me because now they're going to forget about Abrego Garcia, right? The illegal immigrant gang member that's in El Salvador, right? They're going to forget about him. And then they're going to focus all their energy on this, okay? However, their energy being focused on this is the wrong move, just like their energy being focused on Abrego Garcia, an illegal immigrant who was deported back to his home country, was the wrong move. This also is the wrong move, and I'm going to explain to you guys why. Because what the judge did was, in fact, a crime, and even CNN is admitted it. But first, I want to play a clip of Pam Bondi, the Attorney General for President Trump, coming out and basically explaining exactly what led to the arrest of this woke activist judge. Take a look.
So rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow. You know, Madam Attorney General, great to have you here, and thanks for coming back on America Report. So we remember these words of Tom Homan, the border czar. This was March 17th, and his message on these judges who apparently are trying to get in the way of this administration's efforts. Listen.
I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message to them?
We are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
In fact, she just had an initial appearance in court. There's also this other case coming out of New Mexico. Judge Joel Cano and his wife were arrested for harboring a TDA member at their home. the alleged TDA member had been picked up by law enforcement, and now he and his wife were picked up and arrested. And you say that you believe, as the Attorney General, that the person that they were having living at their home was a truly potentially bad individual.
Yeah, that's the judge up on the screen now who got arrested. Yeah, his name is Ortega. He was is a known TDA member, So he comes through Eagle Pass December 2023. He's living in our country. January 2025, ICE, they get a tip. Tom Homan's done a great job. Our FBI did a great job on this case, too. They get a tip that he is living with a judge and the judge's wife. So they have him arrested first on immigration charges. A Judge Damian Martinez releases him, saying that Judge Cano has a good BS meter and wouldn't let just anyone live on his property.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the associations with this violent Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, and this person that they harbored in their home, he was showing signs through clothing, we were told, tattoos. There was evidence through voice messages and text messages of his association to TDA. So what charges will Cano and his wife face, if any?
So Judge Cano, soon to be former Judge Cano, his charges were just unsealed. He's charged with obstruction. He admitted post Miranda. He took one of the TDA members' cell phones himself, took it, beat it with a hammer, destroyed it, and then walked the pieces to a city dumpster to dispose of it to protect him. The wife also is charged with destroying evidence. Sandra, not only that, this TDA member, and he had on a necklace that said kill, something about death. He had tattoos all over him. He also had on his cell phone pictures of two decapitated victims, decapitated, gruesome photos, and he was sending them out, and whoever he was sending them to was sending back saying, hey, you need to be careful. You shouldn't be sending these. You shouldn't be texting these photos out. Not only that, these two, the judge and his wife, gave him assault rifles that belonged to their daughter. That's what they're charged with. In the criminal report affidavit, he goes to a shooting range with these assault rifles, with a suppressor, with other known TDA members, and they're shooting. This is the last person that we want in our country, nor will we ever tolerate a judge or anyone else harboring them.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what's so controversial, right? What is so controversial about the fact that nobody is above the law, right? Again, this is what these people said when President Trump was facing charges from the Biden DOJ. They told us nobody is above the law. Now, all of a sudden, when it comes to these woke judges that are protecting illegal immigrants, now all of a sudden, it's a constitutional crisis to hold them to the same standard that they wanted to hold the president to, right? Isn't it funny how that works, okay? Isn't it amazing how that worked? Apparently, leftist judges, the Democrat Party, Joe Biden's family, all of those people, they're above the law, right? Everybody else is not, right? That's essentially what was happening here, okay? People see the pattern. So with that being said, for as much as the liberal media and the Democrats want to cry constitutional crisis, the problem is that there's no constitutional crisis here. Judges can be arrested, and in this case, even CNN, their legal attorneys, they're admitting that, yeah, this is a crime, right? Technically, this is a crime if you take out all the politics.
Because, of course, this all means that the political battleground state of Wisconsin is now the backdrop for this highly unusual and aggressive legal action against this judge from the Trump administration. Of course, the Trump administration led by a president who has been free to express his feelings, hostility towards the judiciary.
Radical left judges, radical left lunatic judges. He's a nasty judge. Extreme far left judges.
Being here. Katelyn Polantz, I want to start with you on our latest reporting around this, because this, of course, a very sensitive area for state and local officials. Their interactions with the federal government, of course, always highly scrutinized as a general matter. Clearly, this judge is in a difficult position now. What do we know about what her plans are to try to fight back against this, and what the administration's next moves are?
Well, they have a case, and that case is going to go on in court. She hasn't entered a pleading yet. She was released after appearance. But one of the things that I think should really be highlighted here is not, I mean, the case against the judge, it's unusual, but it's not unprecedented. There has been a case like this before in 2019 during the first Trump administration, charging a judge in Massachusetts who was accused of something very similar, trying to usher someone out of that courtroom as ICE officials were waiting for that defendant. In that case, that ended up being resolved. Those charges were dropped in the Biden administration against that judge in Massachusetts, but she ended up cutting a deal. So it was a legitimate case there as well. We don't know how this will go for Judge Dugan, but the thing I really want to highlight here is how this was done today. The Attorney General wants to make an example of this, and boy, are they, Casey. I mean, it's not just the Attorney General, Tom Homan, coming out and saying, doesn't matter who you are, we'll go after you, we'll charge you criminally with obstruction. They apprehended this judge on courthouse grounds at 8:30 this morning and then held her in a holding facility at the federal courthouse until her initial appearance, which happened mid-morning in Milwaukee on these federal charges. It's an obstruction charge, yes, but often people who are upstanding members of the community who aren't a risk of flight, who aren't a danger to the community, they're not put in a cell. They were contacted and said, come in later whenever you want to face your charges when you negotiate this. And so that situation, the apprehending of the judge and then using the federal government's spotlight to point at this case, it just shows you how much of a hard line the administration wants to take here.
Everything Katelyn said and Andy McCabe said before her about the way this is being handled, the way the arrest is being handled, the way that DOJ is publicizing this is spot on and correct. However, looking at the complaint, let's strip the politics out of it. This is a crime. If they can prove what happened here, it is a crime. This judge, let's strip the Trump of it all out. Let's strip the immigration of it all out. Let's say law enforcement shows up at a building with an arrest warrant. They're looking for person A. Person B then says, hey, there's a secret escape door out back. I'm going to show you the way, and then ushers that person out the back door. That is textbook obstruction. That said, I think there's a fair debate to be had that I guess you two will be having in a moment about whether prosecutors should have brought this case. And let me tell you, I've been both state and federal side. If I was at DOJ and someone brought me this case on these facts, I would say, I get it. I get that robotically this is a crime, but I don't know that this is the right move here. Can't we just call up the state courthouse, see if there's some way we can work this out with the judiciary? How are we going to make arrests? I did this. Where are we going to make arrests? What are the protocols we're going to agree on? Jumping right, not everything that's a crime must be indicted or charged by complaint. And so I think this is a crime on paper, but there's a very fair debate about whether it should have been charged.
Right. Well, prosecutors make choices, right?
Exactly.
An allocation of resources. But David Urban, you have been looking like you want to jump in on this. So please, your floor is yours.
I was waiting for McCabe. I was waiting since McCabe was talking. Oh my God. Listen, I hear these people chanting no justice, no peace. Let's not forget, this person, Mr. Reese, committed 2 crimes. He entered the United States illegally. Well, I don't know about the second crime. He's in court there today for domestic violence charge, okay? So it's not like he's there because he's, he's an upstanding citizen. Somebody brought charges against the guy to show up in court for allegedly domestic, hitting somebody in some circumstance. So 2 strikes against the guy to begin with. The judge in this case knows what's going on, sees the ICE officials in the back, to Ellie's point, makes the conscious decision, I'm going to break the law. I'm going to break the law. And let me just make it clear. This president was elected overwhelmingly to seal the border and close down immigration loopholes. We had a poll recently, Harry put out, 60% of Americans today want to deport every one of the 11 million plus illegal aliens. They want to deport them. So for Trump, for the Trump administration politically, winner, winner, chicken dinner, every time you get somebody in this case, this judge, there's that, remember when the Colombian president had did the plane shuffle and then Trump put out the tweet with the face and the FAFO? Same tweet here today.
I completely agree with Ellie. This indictment is strong on its face. They have numerous witnesses. They have a lot of facts that will support this prosecution. But to quote David, yeah, this is a messaging day. And the message here is treating this judge like she just committed some sort of a violent crime, which she didn't, and publicly humiliating her. That is the message to the rest of local judges, local sheriffs, local officials who may feel uncomfortable now being on the pointy edge of the government's immigration efforts. This is a this is an effort at intimidation. There's a clear message being sent by the administration here today. I'm just not so sure it's a good one.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the Justice Department thinks they have a really good position here. Pam Bondi was on television today boasting about this arrest and using language that prosecutors don't tend to use, especially in the pre-indictment phase, not saying allegedly, saying that it happened. And look, I think a lot depends on if the facts are true, as alleged by the FBI agent in the court papers today. It doesn't look great for the judge, no matter how you slice it. But then the other question is, was this kind of escalatory action, was this the best course of action, to actually go and arrest her and take her to court and charge her federally? That's a big step.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Andrew McCabe, who is super anti-Trump, Eli Honig, who tries to be neutral, right? Others on that CNN panel, they all admitted that, yeah, this is a strong case, right? Like, this is a crime. Like, this is a textbook crime. It is open and shut. But at the same time, they're like, oh, they were cruel to the judge. I'm not sure if they should move forward with it, right? Should we really be doing this? Yeah, we really should be doing it. Because nobody asked the question of, should the federal government be using resources to go after the former president, right? When President Trump was raided by the FBI, okay, when he was first indicted by the Department of Justice, when he was at Fulton County Jail getting a mugshot, nobody in the media said, well, should we really be doing this, right? Are these things that we're accusing the president of really, is it really something we should be going after, right? No, nobody asked that question. They all assumed that, no, this is just, this is exactly what we should be doing, right? He, quote unquote, committed a crime. Now, again, nothing was ever proven in the court of law, right? Because all those cases basically got dropped. But I'm just saying, the arguments that were being made, okay, by the left at the time is that nobody is above the law. Now, all of a sudden, when it comes to this judge, they're admitting that, yeah, she basically committed a crime. This is a strong case here from the DOJ. But we don't like the fact they're humiliating her, right? We don't like the message that it sends. But you like the message that it sent to the American people when Biden's DOJ was going after the former president? You was okay with that message, right? That message is totally fine. But when it comes to the judge, though, oh, we don't like the message. It's just hilarious. When the shoe is on the other foot, how these people kick, scream, and cry, right? Oh, this is unprecedented. We never seen this before. No, we've seen this before, right? Again, we saw the Trump administration do this during his first term, right? Where he went out to a judge for the same thing, right? Trying to obstruct. And the Biden DOJ dropped that case. So this is not unprecedented. This is not something we've never seen before. These judges are not above the law. They have to be held accountable when they break the law. If you obstruct, if you basically help illegal immigrants escape, if you traffic illegal immigrants out of the courthouse to have them escape ICE, right? To obstruct federal law enforcement from doing their jobs, okay? Then yeah, you deserve to go to jail, right? It's really that simple, okay? It is very, very, very simple. I don't understand what's so controversial about this. I really don't. Outside of the fact that it's a Democrat, right? Which to me is not controversial. In my opinion, I think they're lucky that all of these Democrat mayors of these sanctuary cities, hell, the governors of these sanctuary states haven't been arrested. In my opinion, I think in a fair and just country, these Democrat governors and these mayors would be arrested for obstructing, because they're all obstructing, right? With their sanctuary city laws and policies. They're all trying to get in the way of the government enforcing federal laws. They're just as guilty as this judge. So again, we're lucky that these Democrats that are running these states and these cities haven't been arrested yet. To be honest with you, I think this is the bare minimum what the Trump administration should be doing, because at some point people have to say enough is enough. We're not going to allow these people to handcuff us when it comes to our ability to enforce immigration law. Like you're just not going to do that, right? We're not going to play with a handicap while Biden was allowed to not follow the law at all, right? He was allowed to completely overthrow the rule of law by allowing all these illegals into the country in the first place. Okay? That's what these people got to understand. So yeah, if you want to obstruct, if you want to get in the way, then you're going to be in jail. Your ass is going to be sent to jail since you love the illegals so much, right? Some of these people, they're lucky. They're not being sent to El Salvador, to be honest with you, right? To keep it 100 for what they're doing. Yeah, there has to be harsh punishment, consequences. because it's too much. It's a big system. It's a giant system that's against the president. The real constitutional crisis is the fact that you have a branch of the government, the judicial branch, that has decided that they're going to stage a coup against the president, right? They're basically trying to force the president and everything he wants to do. They're trying to delay it for the next 4 years until he's out of office. That's what they're trying to do. They're essentially staging their own little insurrection against the American people and who we voted for and the agenda that we voted for. That's what they're doing. So, hey, this is the response. You got to fight fire with fire. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.